Well, here I am showing up to this customer's house because the system's not drying. They say it's running, it's spinning, it's just not getting hot. First thing I'm gonna do is go ahead and pull this dryer out. Okay, I just got the dryer pulled out, so I'm gonna go ahead and disconnect this Coflex from the dryer. Okay, now that I got the Coflex removed, so I'm eliminating this piece. I already kind of looked down in it and it don't look clogged or anything like that. Okay, before I move on with the video, check out this thing. They have a pet rat. So I'm gonna go ahead and kick this thing on and just do a normal. Okay, I just kicked it on. So it is blowing, I can feel it, but it's just normal air. It's not hot at all. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn it off, and then I'm gonna go ahead and unplug it. So now I got this thing all unplugged, I'm gonna go ahead and push it out here. It's a little bit farther so I can work on it. This is a Samsung dryer, so you can actually just open the door, and then you kind of have to put your foot on here and hold it down, but then you can just lift up on this to pop it open. Just got it popped open, so now you can just lean this thing up. It's gonna have to be at like a 90-degree angle like that, because these little tabs can just pull right out. Okay, I just pulled it out, so this thing is loose now. I'm just gonna use this washer to hold it. Okay, I got that thing flipped back, so I'm just gonna go ahead and remove this. Now I can take out these 3 top screws. There's one right here, and then 2 on the bottom. After you get those screws out, you can go ahead and shut the door. And now you can just kind of lean against the dryer a little bit to push this in, and then you can just pull these up on both sides. After you do that, this thing will just lean back like this, and then you can disconnect the sensor. The sensor just pulls out, and then now you can pull this door off. The front side just came off, so now I'm just gonna lean it against the wall over here. And now you can go to the bottom right corner, and there's this. You can go ahead and disconnect it, just pushing this little tab, and then you can just pull it out. Now you can take out this screw, that screw, that screw, that screw, and then there's some right here that goes around. Take those out. Okay, I just got these screws out, and now I got this sensor that I gotta go ahead and take out. In order to do that, they got these hard plastic tabs that you gotta push in, push in. I'm gonna use this little flathead screwdriver to do it, but once you push those in, you can just pull this thing out. Got those out, so I can just pull this out. Now I can pull off this gray part, but in order to do that, you got these tabs, and they have to be lifted up, and then it pulls right out. Okay, just pulled those up, and then this thing came right out. I can just set it over to the side. Now that I fully got this front side taken off, I can see everything in here. And as you can see, it's pretty clogged of lint inside the blower. The blower is kicking on. The unit is telling the dryer what to do. All the signals working. So what I'm thinking is we got the heating element and everything over here. I'm gonna go ahead and pull it out. I got one screw down there, this screw, these 2 screws that I gotta take out. Once you get these screws out, this heating element should just disconnect from back there. Just kind of lift up on it, and you can just pull it out. As you're pulling out, you'll see there's a lot of wires attached to it, but they all should just come right out. See, it has a little flue pipe. It goes up, and then right there's the exhaust, so that's how the dryer gets hot. But they make these wires so convenient to where you don't have to take anything apart. You can just pull it out with all the wires. This thing is like clamshelled in, so I gotta take these Phillips screws out all the way around this thing, and then I can pop this thing off. So you are gonna have to disconnect these to get this top off. So you got your red supply power. It goes to your first switch. It's the first one because it's the shortest wire. It goes to this switch, it jumpers over to this switch, goes through it, jumpers over to this switch, goes through it, and then this is your return wire, this blue one, and then it's feeding back. So if any of these switches trip, it'll cut the power. So if this switch trips or if it goes bad, the unit won't work. So we'll have to test this switch, we'll test this switch, and we'll test this switch to see if all the switches work. So you do got to remember your wiring, but it's pretty easy because you got your supply and your return, and then you just got your jumper wires to each switch. And then you can take off the wiring. Now we can test the switches, so take it over to continuity. So when you take your leads, you can test to make sure they're in right, and you can just touch them together. If it makes the beep noise, you know it's working. So we're going to take one on one side and one on the other. It's beeping, so that means this switch is working. We got one on one side, one on the other. This one is working. These are just safeties though, in case the system's like overheating or something like that. This one over here is a little bit different. This is the coil of the heat strip. So if this thing is like broke or something, then it won't make contact going through. So we got one on one side, one on the other, and it is not beeping. Like I said earlier, this is a Samsung dryer. It's about 5 years old, and the heating element is bad. They make a kit that replaces all the switches and the heating element. So I'm gonna order the kit and then we'll replace it. So here's the strips, here's the switches. It came all in one box. Let's go ahead and take these screws out. Once you get those screws out, those switches will fall right out, and this thing should fold right up, come right out. Okay, I just got the top off. Here's the old, look how charred up it is. Oh, look, there's the culprit. There's the break right there. So that's why it's not making continuity through right there, because it's broke. So we got one Phillip right there we got to take out. On this right here, there's a little flat tab right there that you got to bend up in order to push this thing out. Just flatten those out so this thing will come right out now. Do not lose this piece. It's the only one you get. It doesn't come with the kit. But now this thing is completely loose and you can trash it. The new one goes right back in just like the old one. I'm gonna go ahead and put these screws back in. Once you got those in, you can go ahead and pull on this wire just a little bit, stretch it out, and you can feed these through. Now you're gonna get that piece, put them on just like you took them off, screw it in. Got those tabs bent back over, it's all screwed back on. I got the other two switches here. I'm gonna go ahead and take them out. There's the old ones, here's the new ones. I know those are good, but I might as well replace them because I'm right here. Go ahead and put this top shell right back on. Just got it all back together with the new ones, so now I can put these switches back on. Got the switches all back on. Let's go ahead and be safe and we can test the continuity. And it is working now. I'm gonna go ahead and wire this thing back up. Got this all wired up so I can put it back in. Just got that all back on. So now I got the gray piece sitting right here. I'm gonna go ahead and clean this pipe out. I bet there's a lot of, like, look at this. Lots of lint inside there. Now this little blower wheel, I'm going to shake it. I'm gonna try to get all this dust out best I can. I'll probably vacuum it. Got all the big chunks out. All that fine stuff will blow right out the pipe. So now I can put the gray piece right back on. Gray piece is back on, so I'm gonna go ahead and wire this back up. Now I can push this back in. I can go ahead and put this door back on. Just got the front plate clicked into the bottom. So now before I put the top screws in, I'm gonna go ahead and plug in this sensor. Got the sensor plugged in, and then I just clip this into place, and now I can put in these screws and down there. Okay, the front plate is completely on, so now I can put back in the filter. Front door is completely on, so now I can go ahead and flip this thing back over. Just flipped it over so the dryer is back together. I'm gonna go ahead and plug it in. Now I'm gonna go ahead and turn it on. Then I can start it. And we're gonna go ahead and test the temperature coming out. And the temperature is rising. It's just getting hotter and hotter. System is heating.